Hey folks, welcome to a review here today of the ID-107 Bluetooth fitness wristband for Canadian Guns and Gear. I purchased this wristband from gearbest.com and I will provide a link in the description of where you can get one. So let's begin. So right here we have the ID-107 wristband. So I've just got some talking points here and I'm going to kind of go over them and explain a little bit about the wristband. So the first thing here is what's its intended use? Well, the purpose of this wristband here, it fills a couple different roles, but predominantly the main role is it's a pedometer or step counter. And what that's going to do is you're going to wear it throughout the day, and it's going to keep track of how many steps you've made. In the application that I will show you shortly, it sets goals and keeps track of that on a daily basis. Along with that, the other purposes it's going to have, it's going to provide or act as a watch. It's also got a few other features that we'll go over here once we get to the features. But the main purpose is either the fitness tracker and being a watch. So, comfort. I've been wearing this for the last couple days as I've tried it out, and I've found it actually to be quite comfortable on my arm. On my wrist. As you can see here, it does also have a heart rate sensor on the back, and you don't even feel that when you're wearing it. It's quite comfortable design and quite comfortable to wear every day, even to sleep while you're sleeping. So it is quite comfortable. We'll go a bit into the construction and design of it. It is all plastic. The wristband itself is kind of a rubbery material, but the watch or the device itself is actually plastic. So it's certainly not the quality of say a Fitbit or something else that's going to be using higher quality materials. It is made of plastic, but at the end of the day it does provide it at a cheaper price point. The big thing I did notice with the plastic, I'm not sure if you can see it on here, but I do have a few scratches on the surface of my wristband. I was wearing it when I was doing some yard work and such, and it did get scratched up a little bit. It's nothing terrible. It's nothing that's going to stop it from functioning or, you know, cause any major issues, but just be aware that if you are going to be using it for anything where you're going to have stuff rubbing up against it or potentially coming in contact with it, it can scratch because it is plastic. It's not glass or another material that may be more scratch resistant. It is waterproof. They say somewhere on here it's water life proof essentially, so it will prevent any water damage from splashing, rain, sweat and such. I did wear it and run it underwater and I had no issues with it. As far as I know, they wouldn't suggest swimming with it, but if you wear it in the shower, I'm not sure about that, but rain, sweat, even washing it under water to clean it off, I've had no issues with that. Battery life. So when I got the watch, it wasn't fully charged, but after I fully charged it and wore it, I found that it uses about 25% of its battery life every day. Now, I suspect that as time goes on, that may actually decrease just because it being a battery over its life, it may not be as effective. But out of the box, it uses about 25% of its battery life per day. So that gives you a range of between 3 to 4 days before you have to recharge it. So you can get a good 3 days out of it, and on the 4th day you may want to charge it. So the features. We'll go into the features as I spoke about earlier. The first one we're going to go over here is the fact that it's a watch. As you can see, it pops up with the time there. Now, it's actually designed so that when it's on your wrist and you look up as if you're looking at your watch, it'll actually display the time. All the other time it's not actually on, so it doesn't waste the battery life. It pulls your time from your phone, so when you sync it up with your phone, it's going to pull the time off that, and as you can see, I've just switched it off there, off the time. I have it in 24-hour clock mode, as you can see there. The next function, and one of the main functions, is the fact that it's a pedometer or a step counter. Now, if we go into the step mode, there's our heart rate mode. Right there's our step mode. It's saying that I've had 10,000 steps today. I found through the use of it, it actually kind of overestimates the amount of steps you take during a day. My wife actually has a Fitbit Alta, and my steps compared to hers when we're doing similar activities through the day, mine's usually about double. So it does quite overestimate the steps that you've actually taken. But I mean, you can adjust that in the app by essentially doubling whatever target you would look to set and just double it. And that will kind of compensate for the overestimation of the steps by the watch. HR monitor. So as I mentioned earlier, on the back it has a sensor here. It's got a light and some sort of a camera, and when it's on your wrist it will actually sense your heartbeat. Right now it's given some sort of a reading, but it's kind of a false reading just because it's not on my wrist. I found this is actually quite accurate. It takes a few seconds actually to obtain your heart rate, but once it does, I found that it's quite accurate compared to when you actually take your pulse, for a wristband anyway. It's not going to keep track of anything crazy while you're doing exercises, because it can have a hard time when you're doing strenuous movements or your heart rate is changing a lot. But just to take your pulse, say after you've gone for a run, it's quite effective for that. Sleep monitor is another feature that this watch provides. Now what it does is it essentially, while you're sleeping, you would wear the watch and it will track your sleeping pattern. So whether you're moving, whether you're tossing, whether you're turning at night, so on and so forth, and it will provide a report for that on the application that we'll see shortly. And it can show you how many hours of sleep you got and how many hours you were restless versus deep sleep. Another great feature of this is that it does push, when you have it synced up with your phone, any texts and phone call alerts. One of the big issues I noticed with that, it's not a deal breaker or anything, but it does scroll along from right to left with the text alerts. I found though that the screen went out before you could even read the text. So it would scroll across saying who's calling you or who's texting you, but then the screen would go blank on its own before it even finished displaying what the text is saying or who's calling. So I don't know if that's an issue with the software of the device. That may be updated at some point, but you just have to keep pressing the button to keep activating it. So it will at least vibrate and let you know that you are getting a call or a text in case you don't feel it or hear it on your phone. And then it also includes a camera remote control in the application we'll show you shortly. You can put it into a mode where you can essentially tap on the bracelet and it will take a picture for you. It's kind of like a remote control button for your camera, I guess. Nothing crazy, pretty simple. So we're going to take a look here at the application. I'll just show you the basics of it. When I first got the application, it wasn't quite working properly. I did update it and it seems to be working all right now. So this is the application here. It's called VeryFit 2.0. So on the main page here, you can see how many steps you've had. If you tap on it, it'll actually show you some different statistics. When you swipe to the left, you will show you your previous night's sleep. As you can see, I got 7 hours and 50 minutes of sleep. Tapping on it will actually show you throughout the night what these bars basically show, whether you're in a deep sleep, light sleep, or if you're awake. If we go down to the details tab, it will give you essentially a history on a little bar graph here showing you your previous history of how many steps you've taken, and then you can switch over to sleep and so on and so forth for your sleep. Under our device tab here, gives you the information about your actual monitor itself. You have a bunch of different settings here, whether you want call alerts, alarms, SMS alerts, so on and so forth. Here's the camera that I was speaking of earlier. As you can see, you got a little vibration on the wristband, and if you tap on it, it will, or should, there we go, press the button on the side and it will take a picture for you. So we'll cancel out of that. And we got some more features, wrist sense, anti-lost alert, find phone, and device updating. You can unbind it and add a different device. So under the user, essentially you can put in your user information, and it will ask you for things such as your age, your height, and your weight to kind of help it calculate whatever it calculates for your steps. So now our last point here is going to be the price. I purchased this on GearBest. I believe it was on sale at the time, but usually the price is around between $20 to $25 Canadian, which is actually quite a good price for a fitness band that does so much. Now, I mean, it's not great at everything. Some things it's a little stronger at, and others it's not. It's definitely not a Fitbit. If you're looking for a Fitbit, you're going to be spending quite a bit more money, upwards of $150 to $200. It's not that, but for the price, it gives you quite a bit. And if you take into consideration, like I said, that a Fitbit costs between $150 to $200, it is definitely great bang for your buck. So that is the review today for the ID107 Bluetooth fitness band. Thanks for watching, and like I said, you can check this band out in the description. I'll put a link to GearBest. Thanks for watching.